Hello, my name is Vince LoCascio. Welcome to the I'm a Busy Guy show. I have another busy guy in the show. His name is Fred Serpe. He's president of the Italian American Political Coalition. And Fred, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you for taking the time. So busy.
Nice to have you here. If I can, we'll start briefly. The coalition was founded in 1994.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit about how it was founded and by whom?
Originally, some of our founders, fine men like Leonard Amari and Richard Caifano, got together because the redistricting had led Congress into not allowing anybody in the Italian American community to represent Chicago. We originally had Frank Annunzio, and then we had Marty Russo, and then Congressman Annunzio, who was a great Italian American leader for many, many years. He retired, and then Congressman Russo had the only district that was an Italian American, and he was redistricted out. So consequently, the Italians lost their representation in Congress. So our founders got together and said, we need to do something about this. We need to show that the people of Chicago and the 600,000 voters that we have in the Chicagoland area need to be represented, not only in Congress, but in Illinois and throughout Illinois, everywhere from the governor's office all the way down to the in the municipalities and townships and everywhere else. And that's what put it together. A bunch of brave men put their checkbooks up and their goals and desires and founded this organization. And
it's obviously going very strong. And 600,000 voters is quite a powerful voice.
It's a good voting bloc. I mean, we are heard, and over the last 16 years, our organization has gained great strength, and we are well recognized, and we are requested of an endorsement from every candidate throughout Illinois.
Nice. I know with the history of the Italian Americans in local government as well as in Illinois, but some of the first barriers we faced were even just the language to get into the political forces. But I believe even as early as the 1800s, we had a couple aldermen that were Italians.
And that's as far as we went. Since the 1800s, since Illinois was incorporated, we have never had an Italian-American governor, and we have only had one constitutional candidate, and that was Jerry Cosentino, who ran and won successfully for state treasurer back in the late 80s and early 90s. But Illinois has yet to have an Italian-American governor or any other elected statewide official other than Jerry.
And never say never. Never
say never, because we're always trying, and every day we should have, every election we're hopeful that we will not only have one, draft one, and elect one.
Right. I know a couple of the names that we had mentioned, and you just did mention, Congressman Marty Russo.
He was a great Italian leader. He did so much for the Italian-American people, always trying to help, always trying to get money into Illinois, to fund money for the Villa Scalabrini at the time, the Casa San Carlo, anything, the Italian-American Sports Hall of Fame, any type of events, Marty Russo was always there, and we miss him dearly.
And I know Congressman Frank.
Congressman, he was truly a leader, and he set the bar for all Italian-American elected officials. In years ago, when I was a child, he was a great man. Once again, getting money for Villa Scalabrini, building it with Father Perini and Father Larry Cozy and other people. And throughout my career as I grew up, Frank Annunzio was always there trying to help promote the Italian-American people, the Italian-American way of life and our businesses. And he was great. He did so much for the Columbus Day Parade and for moving the statue of Columbus into a regal park.
And what a beautiful statue.
And what a beautiful statue. And he'd tell the story about he and Matt Alagna Sr., how he got his truck and he had it moved over. It's just a great story. Yeah, it's just so much culture and history from Taylor Street and the whole area. And Congressman Russo was truly a great man.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Congressman Annunzio that got legislation passed to make Columbus Day a holiday? Congressman
Annunzio, yeah. I mean, he not only made Columbus Day a federal holiday, he also made Casimir Pulaski Day a federal holiday. There's a story where he found Casimir Pulaski's statue in the basement of the Capitol. He says, why is it there? And he had it moved up to the top and did that. So he not only did greatness for the Italian-American community, but Frank Annunzio also focused on everyone else, too.
And to mention the Columbus Day Parade, which just took place a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
What a great day.
It was a beautiful day.
For Italians. I mean, make us proud. Part of the parade was to salute the Italian-American elected officials, which the list goes on and on. So, I mean, if you could tell us a little bit about that.
The parade itself, besides it just being a beautiful day, we know that God loves Italian Americans just for giving us that great day. We had just elected officials everywhere. There were 32. We have 32 mayors of Italian American descent just in the Chicagoland area. They were all there. All the state representatives, the state senators that we have, the congresswoman that we have in Debbie Halverson. I mean, it was a tremendous event. We gave everybody a lot of focus, and the whole idea was, once again, to have those Italian-American elected officials. Here in Illinois, we've got, like you had mentioned, we have 600,000 voters. It's a great voting bloc, and then all of our families and the culture and history that we enjoy here in Illinois. Outside of New York, where being Italian is everyday commonplace, and it's nothing to have an Italian-American governor or elected official or federal judges from the New York area, because they are so matriculated and ingrained into the society of New York, which is what we've been successfully doing in the last 100 years here in America, or here in Chicago.
We've come such a long way.
We've come a great long way, and so we've had to overcome that language barrier, like you said. It wasn't easy for my grandfather to come in and start speaking, or anyone else.
Right. I mean, in some of the high offices that we do hold now, there's two of the associate justices of the Supreme Court, Antonin Scalia and Samuel Alito.
Scalia is a brilliant man, and when I was sworn in to be allowed to practice before the Supreme Court with the Justinian Society of Lawyers, and I was introduced by Judge Anthony Iosco, who presented the group we were with to the Supreme Court that day. And then we sat and we watched the arguments going on with the justices against the lawyers that were presenting their cases. Antonin Scalia was brilliant and just so poignant, and every question he asked was directed to the point, and he knew the subject matter, and he demanded not only legal answers, but sound philosophical answers on how everything applied, and how the other justices would hang on every word he said. He's a great American, a great leader. Came out of the University of Chicago, and has led the way in the Supreme Court. And now with Samuel Alito on the Supreme Court, he has followed Antonin Scalia in every way, and we're just proud. We've got two Italian Americans. If we could get one more, they recently, with the new appointment, there was 3 women on the board. Well, this is incredible that we're allowed to have 2 Supreme Court justices.
And as an attorney, that must make you so proud. And as
an
Italian American,
it's what the practice of law is all about. To be able to know that there are great leaders and great minds on the Supreme Court. And when they issued the decision, the thought process that went into it, and the amount and how it affects everyone in every way, and yes, being an attorney, it fills me with pride.
Nice. And also the Chief Justice of the State of Illinois, Bob Thomas.
Bob Thomas, we all remember Bob when he was with the Bears, but he's Italian, and he's led the Italian American community as well. I mean, there have been times when we're asking for support of more judges, more Italian American judges, and Justice Thomas has always been open to looking at their qualifications and to see if we can put more Italian Americans on the bench in the judiciary.
Nice. Two of the organizations I'd like to ask you to comment about. One is the Joint Civic Committee of Italian Americans, which put on the parade.
Right. The Joint Civic Committee is the umbrella organization of all the Italian American organizations, and that was founded, I don't know how many years ago.
I think in the 50s.
In the 50s, and with great men. And yes, they put on a tremendous parade. They really put it together well, and having that kind of TV coverage and the participation and just being on the floats. And we had some politicians on our float. We had all the signs for the people we endorse. But seeing the people as we go down the street and how excited they get, it was just great. And having Tommy Lasorda, who said he was willing to be the new Cubs manager. I don't know if that what a great Italian American, right? But the Joint Civic Committee is always led and tried to hold some sort of coalition with all of the Italian American organizations. Everybody's got a cause, everybody's got a reason, everybody's got a saint that we all participate in. And the role of the Italian American Political Coalition, which I've been so proud to be the president for the last 2 years, our role is political. We're there to endorse, we're there to promote, we're there to push Italian American candidates, and also to push the current office holders to help our Italian Americans. Not just as candidates, but how many Italian Americans are on their staff of an elected official. Those are jobs that can be filled with good, bright minds and young minds, and we certainly have them. Our law schools, our colleges are filled with intelligent people that can all work for the different candidates. Congressman Lipinski, for example, has always had his chief of staff is Italian American. He's always had 5, 6, 10 different people working on his campaign or his staff that are Italian American, and he's not. That's our goal with other American people.
I believe that says a great deal about the coalition, that it's not just because it's called Italian American. All the people that are endorsed on it are not Italian, but like you said, they stand for our goals and what we represent.
Exactly. I mean, we're here to promote. We're here to promote our heritage, our ethnicity, but we are also here to promote those that help. I mean, there's great judges out there that are not Italian American, but they recognize who we are and what we are, and great politicians out there that recognize who we are and what we are. I think a perfect example is somebody like Dan Cronin, who's been a senator for years and now looks like he may be successful in the upcoming election for DuPage County chairman. And Dan has always been helpful to the Italian Americans and always has open doors, things like that. I mean, these are the people that even Mayor Daley always recognized the Italian Americans, but he always opened his doors. He always made sure we had a great Columbus Day parade.
Well, the second theme of the parade was the Arrivederci Mayor Daley.
That's right. He will be very much missed. I mean, and he's had some great, and still has great Italian Americans on his staff.
Yes, he does.
Whether it's at the airport or
Rosemary Andolino.
Rosemary Andolino, right, who was
the Commissioner of Aviation.
She was Commissioner of Aviation. She was Columbus Day Queen. They want to say 1984.
Is that right?
Yes, 85. Yeah, she was great.
Really?
She still is great. Yes.
Yeah, she makes us proud.
She does. She does. And these are people that every day not only make us proud, but make us realize who we are and what we can do. And we're not downtrodden. And nobody's putting us down because we have a vowel at the end of our name.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all grown up facing some of that type of bias and slander, and
it's defamation.
It's defamation. There's no question about it, and it's wrong. And I think we've overcome a great deal of it in our years,
right,
and even in the last 30 years.
And part of the JCIA has a branch that fights against.
Joint Civic Committee has a branch. There's an Italian American Human Relation Foundation, head by Lou Rego, who fights the defamation. Just got one of the major grocery store chains to change their marketing, saying what's come out of Sicily, and they were saying besides this good wine, there was negative things coming out. So he's got that all changed.
Yeah, we got to stay on top of that.
Well, this is what organizations are for, and this is what people are for that belong to these things. And everybody has their role. Our role is to get Italian American candidates and judges elected.
And I know another organization that you're a member of and couldn't make the Italian Americans prouder is the Justinian Society. The Justinian Society of Lawyers is a tremendous organization, and that's it's not a political organization. It's a law-based organization to discuss changes in the law, growth in the law, and to promote Italian Americans being attorneys, young Italian Americans. They give out a great scholarship program.
They have a tremendous charitable arm that does things for the Italian community and for others. But the Justinians, yeah, I've always been proud to be a member of that organization.
And I should mention, we'll mention towards the end of the show too, there is quite a list of endorsements, and to get that list, you can go to www.iapcvote.org. Fred, if we could maybe mention, there's quite a few, but if you wanted to highlight some of the people that are on that list, starting with the state representatives, with Dennis Revelletti.
Right. Let me, if we can, in order to be endorsed by our Italian-American political coalition, number one, a candidate has to ask for the endorsement. They have to sign a pledge that says, I pledge to help and promote the cause and the goals and objectives of the Italian-American community and the political coalition. And they sign that pledge.
Nice. So it's not just because I'm Italian.
It's not just because you're a candidate we're going to pick you or not pick you. It's because you've signed our pledge, you've asked for our help, you've asked for our endorsement, and you know that our endorsement is worth 600,000 votes. So those that we have endorsed, and and it goes all. There's a wide range. It goes all the way from the governor on down to the judiciary and everywhere else. Those people have asked for it, and that's why we're proud to support and endorse them.
Nice. And it's something just to revert back to for a minute that's it's actually disgusting is something that was sent out here, which is a disgrace.
That it's absurd. It's got Dennis Revelletti, a state representative who's one of the most brilliant lawmakers in Springfield. He's a former prosecutor that was in Will County for years, and he lives in Elmhurst and has worked for the DuPage County State's Attorney as well as a clerk years ago. He's very astute to the laws and the effects of the laws and ripple effects of the laws, and he's a leader on the Judiciary Committee in Springfield and carries great weight and great respect from his other legislators. And for his opponent to send out some slanderous piece with him with a cutout of his head on some body that has an undershirt on, and we won't even say what kind of undershirt it is. It just tries to bring us back 50 years, and it's not going to happen. I'm highly offended by someone who would attack such a good state representative like that.
There's no ethics.
No, there's no ethics, and as an Italian, I'm highly insulted that someone would do that. Even if it wasn't Dennis, it was anybody. Just pulling that kind of game is not fair. Yeah.
Well, it shows what we're still up against.
We still are. It still comes up. We still have a vowel at our name. I am Ferdinand the 10th. And I'm very proud of that. My ancestors, fought with Garibaldi in the unification of Sicily. Right. And my name is, I'm very proud of it.
To move on, then, some of the other state reps, Franco Cola de Pietro.
Franco Cola de Pietro has got the Bloomingdale Township area. Dennis is right next to him in the Addison and Elmhurst area. Franco is always putting up new laws that help senior citizens and protect our taxes and our real estate taxes. And is just so eloquent. He's a great guy and a great family person, and we're real proud of Franco. And right next to Franco, there's three. Skip Saviano, which is the furthest east. His area is O'Hare and part of Bensonville, and Skip's been a legislator now for almost 20 years, and really has got tremendous respect in Springfield and knows his way around the Capitol and how to get bills passed and how to get things funding. Right.
Frank Martino?
Frank Martino's down in central Illinois, and his father was a legislator before he was. And he's always done great for central Illinois and the Italian-American people, and he has great fundraisers down there that focus on our culture and our heritage, and he's the first one to step up and help guys like Franco and Dennis and Skip, especially when we're trying to do something in an Italian-American way.
Great. And John D'Amico?
John D'Amico just passed another law, one of the texting laws, or the speed limit law, that makes driving 30 miles an hour a misdemeanor crime. And he's been focused on public safety, and that's been his role since he's been elected. And, all of these legislators, yes, we care about how they help the Italian American community, but more so we care about how they conduct themselves as a legislator and their ethics and their honor in what they do in the roles of safety, and all 5 of those men that you've just mentioned pass laws constantly for safety and to protect senior citizens from harm and abuse. And those are all men that their mothers should be very, very proud of.
And their ancestors.
And their ancestors.
These are all the dreams coming into fruition of those people that came over.
And every one of them has evolved.
I know there's quite a few, but if there's any judges, either retention or to be elected that you want to mention?
There's 2 types of judges that we that come into somebody's ballot every year, and some that are actually running to be elected. They have either been appointed in the past year or 2, and now they have to run for that spot. One of them on a appellate level, up in the 2nd district, which is everything west of Chicago, all the way out to the Mississippi River, is Mary Seminara Shostak, who has been an appellate justice now, and now she's running for actual election for her first time, and she's really her and Ann Jorgensen is another judge. They have both brought themselves out and separated themselves and made themselves.
Mary Shostak, her name is Seminara?
Her middle name is Seminara, right. And Ann Jorgensen and is married to Dr. Rich Jorgensen, who is Italian. And they're both great in the 2nd district. But then you go to the other judges that are elected. They have not been, or they may have been appointed, but they are running for an election itself, like Mayor Puglia of Westchester's wife, Masterson Puglia. She's just outstanding. And then we have people that are being appointed too. Now, these guys are retention judges. Retention judges are judges that have been sitting. They already won their election whenever they did, and then every 4 years or 6 years they have to run for retention, and that's just a vote yes or no. And we've got tremendous Cook County judges that we're running for retention. Judges like Robert Bertucci, who sits at the Daly Center. Judge Paula Dalio, who lives in Melrose Park, sits in the 4th District in Maywood, who's just a tremendous judge. Whenever I step in front of her, that it's going to be fair and it's going to be tough, and she doesn't hesitate to yell at me or find my client guilty if they are. Judge Feccarata, who's a felony judge in the Rolling Meadows District, who's just so well respected. It's when you walk into his room, there's a regiment that you're going to follow, and that. Everything, you better be on your toes, because he knows the law a lot better than anyone else in that room. And we've got to be ready for it. And then also Judge Kay Hanlon, who sits in Rolling Meadows as well, and she does the preliminary hearings, and she's not afraid to find probable cause and somebody guilty or somebody should have been arrested. And she's also not afraid to find somebody not guilty if that's necessary. We've got tremendous judges, and there's Judge Jill Cerrone Marisi, who's outstanding and sits in Rolling Meadows, or Judge, as I mentioned, Anthony Iasco. And the chief judge in Rolling Meadows, Judge Urso, who's a great guy. They're not running for retention. I'm just throwing out names because they're so good.
Well, that's what earlier we talked about, who we have now that we should be proud of. And once again, and I'll say it, this is a long list of endorsements, and it can be found at www.iapcvote.org. It's kind of like maybe save the best for last, but how proud, now that Mayor Daley has announced that he's not going to run, did we have Alderman Bob Fioretti who's going to run? What's your feeling on him, and what can and what will IAPC do for him?
Before we get to Bob, and I really want to talk about that because that is just historic. We've got a couple of the people on the county board that we'd like to mention.
I'm sorry.
Peter Silvestri, who's not only the mayor, has been the mayor of Melrose of Elmwood Park, and we've seen how Elmwood Park has just beautified itself over the years of Peter's leadership. But he is the county commissioner, and he's done a tremendous job fighting with Stroger, and we see what the mess has come out of that. But Peter is one of those guys that not only is helping the Italian-American community, Elmwood Park, but making sure that people are getting jobs and getting protected, and that seniors are being protected by all of the county regulations. And he's just, I can't say enough about Peter Silvestri. I've known him for so many years. And here's another Italian hiring an Italian, his village manager, Jay Delacondro, who's managed the Elmwood Park so well all the time since Peter's been elected. Yeah. And go ahead.
I've had the pleasure to meet him, and his heart is in what he does.
He is. He is. And you know, we love Peter. We just love Peter.
And then on the county level, DuPage County
the Forest Preserve
president?
Dewey Perotti. Now, Dewey has been the Forest Preserve president for 30 years. And DuPage County has vast amounts of forest preserve. It's amazing. They have the largest amount of free land in Illinois that's dedicated to forest preserves and green space. And he's always coming up with more goals and objectives on how to keep that green space environmentally perfect and what to do. And, you know, facing the issues that's faced in DuPage of wild animals or you know, too many geese now that's overrun the golf courses, and Dewey's always
That's the closest I'm getting to a birdie is hitting one of those.
Yeah, right. That's about it. But he's been facing and tackling all those problems and making sure and wrestling with funding and making sure that the forest preserve is great. And I really can't say enough about Dewey and the people he hires as well. All the Italian Americans, and then some of his commissioners. Marcia Murphy is one of the greatest commissioners I've ever met. And she's out of Addison Township. But Dewey is good people.
Well, everybody look up on the website who's endorsed, and if you can because we're running short of time.
Right, Bob Fioretti. Bob Fioretti. I mean, this is, you know, like I said, to have an Italian American as mayor of the city of Chicago is historic. I mean, this may be the only chance in our lifetime. I don't know if, you know, I'm always hopeful that the next governor or the next whatever is going to be Italian American. But Bob Fioretti is, you know, he's a tremendous politician. He's a great leader. He's taken that second ward, and he's not been afraid to stand up to Mayor Daley at different times too, as we've seen. But the second ward, that is a very mixed ward, adores him, and I think that's a perfect type of candidate for the city, because, you know, there's so many different aspects and captions and areas of an ethnic backgrounds for the city. Bob can bring those people together.
Yeah, and he's good at bringing economic development.
He's very good. His business acumen is outstanding. You know, what he's done as a lawyer to protect people has been insurmountable, and we're very excited. We're having a party for him December 9th, a fundraiser. This is the first time the political coalition has actually endorsed and promoted and stepped up to lead for a candidate. You know, usually we're endorsing, but now we're really getting behind Bob. And we had signs at the float at the parade, and we had every news channel was focused on it, and it was great.
Well, hopefully he'll make us all proud.
Yes, it will.
Thank you for being on the show, and it's my tradition to give out a box of cannolis.
Just what I need, another box of cannoli, right? But thank you. I love cannoli.
Thank you for being on the show.
Vince, thank you.
Please check out the website. All the information that we talked about is there. And also, you're an attorney in all this business.
I'm an attorney. We do mainly criminal law. I've got offices in Maywood and in Arlington Heights, right across from each courthouse, and we have lots of fun, and we help people every day.
All right. Thanks again, Fred.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm busy. I got to go. We'll see you later.